This is 5 on your side at 6. Focused on you.
Get ready for another round of storms. We're talking more heavy rain and thunderstorms. Some could be severe overnight and into the morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ann Allred. Mike Bush has the night off. We are in storm alert. We have team coverage tonight. Let's begin with Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell.
Well, we're tracking thunderstorms and showers. They're starting to develop now off to the west and northwest of St. Louis. Eventually, the stronger storms will work towards St. Louis a little later on this evening, so not right at this moment. We actually have some sunshine breaking through the clouds in places around the metro right now. We've kind of been watching this camera out in Chesterfield as we continue to see those clouds break a little bit, a little sun going in there, and temperatures warming above 80 degrees. Key to what's going to happen here overnight. Showers and thunderstorms are starting to percolate out along Interstate 70 and to the north. You're basically watching this area to our west for additional development. What we're seeing right now, just run-of-the-mill, nothing out of the ordinary, just typical kind of thunderstorms and showers. But we do have this severe potential. In fact, Storm Prediction Center has us in this slight risk. They will likely be issuing a new severe thunderstorm watch within the next hour or so. And that could include St. Louis. It certainly is going to include areas west and southwest, we think. And in addition to a severe weather threat, there's a pretty substantial flash flood concern as we go into the overnight hours. So rounds of heavy rain and thunderstorms will be developing. Those storms later this evening up until about midnight could be strong to severe. Then we transition from a severe threat to more of a flash flooding threat. Some of us, including portions of the metro area, may see more than 6 inches of rain before tomorrow morning. That could cause big flooding problems. We just don't know exactly where that band's going to set up.
Just 2 hours ago, St. Louis County activated its Emergency Operations Center due to the possibility of severe weather overnight. 5 on your side's Robert Townsend is live outside that center in Baldwin with a warning for people whether they plan to be out driving or staying at home. Robert.
Hey there, Ann. You know, right now it is partly cloudy and dry out here in the Baldwin area. Emergency officials say it is the perfect time for people to get ahead of the potential rainstorm and flash flooding. Now, the St. Louis County Emergency Operations Center has launched what it calls a level 2 partial activation due to the possible flash flooding tonight or overnight. The folks here will track the predicted storm around the clock on several flat screens, computers, and laptops. The operations emergency management workers have also teamed up with the Department of Transportation, the Department of Health, and the American Red Cross in the event of any major flash flooding problems. Now, they tell me safety is the key, and that's why county officials are encouraging drivers to stay off the road if you can, and homeowners should start protecting their belongings right now.
Make sure that you're moving those belongings up from the floor, and make sure that you have a bag ready to go. Only call 911 if it's a life-threatening emergency. If you have to be out on the roadway, please look for floodwaters. Never drive into the floodwaters. Turn around.
Those storm-ready workers will be putting in 12-hour shifts tonight and overnight. And back here live, you can see a few clouds are starting to roll in at this hour. But again, no rain just yet. We're watching the skies. Live in Baldwin, I'm Robert Townsend. 5 on your side.
The slick roads caused 2 semi-trucks to roll over this morning. The first crash happened in Peevely. A tractor-trailer drove off I-55, hit a concrete wall, and ended up crashing onto Highway Z, seriously injuring the driver. Then, just before 7, a driver suffered minor injuries after he ran off of 255 near Lindbergh in South County. Truckers say you need to give them space to slow down, especially when it's raining.
In dry conditions, it can take as long as a football field. In wet conditions, it can take 2 or 3 football fields in order for that truck to stop that's full of all of your stuff. And so we just remind, especially the automobile drivers out there, give trucks plenty of room, give them plenty of space. We're doing the best job that we can to safely deliver over 70% of the nation's freight.
Truckers say there are 4 no-zone areas around these big rigs. Don't get too close to the front, the back, or both sides, especially the back right. That's where there's a blind spot. Flash flooding kept first responders in Franklin County busy this morning. Firefighters say water was waist deep in some areas. They responded to several water rescues in the Gerald area. The Gerald Rosebud Fire Chief says he's never seen flooding like this before. He says firefighters are on standby and ready for any potential emergencies tonight and tomorrow morning. Let's bring in meteorologist Tracy Henson, who's been looking at storm reports and has a recap. Tracy.
Gerald and Rosebud, where most of those storm reports came from. And you can see why here. So this is the radar loop showing those storms, quite a bit of lightning in those as well. It just showed how powerful those storms were. It lit up the sky. At one point, I measured roughly 1,000 strikes of lightning. Now, as we get closer into these areas, let's take a look. You can see it sort of pinpointed the Gerald and Rosebud area. As far as rainfall goes, this is a radar estimate, so it's not measured by an instrument or a rain gauge. It is just measured by the radar here, but roughly 3 inches of rainfall, some areas picking up closer to 5, and even that area in the red indicating closer to 6 to 7. Storm reports all over mostly the central part of the state here, and that did hit our Gasconade County as well as Franklin County here, part of our coverage area. Those storm reports here, many were closed roads, but some of those were due to cars that were stalled in floodwater. It is hard to tell sometimes when those roads are covered, and sometimes you can't tell how deep it is. So the best advice is to turn around and go a different way. 3 cars stalled in the floodwater there at 6:19, so plenty of light out at that time in Gerald. And then in Rosebud, 4 vehicles were pulled from the water around town, and several roads were covered in water. We're expecting more reports like that tonight.
The Weather First forecast is available 24/7. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355 and we'll send you a link. While an open carry bill sits on Mayor Tashara Jones' desk, another prominent local leader outside the city limits is endorsing the idea. St. Louis County Council Chair Shalonda Webb sat down with Christine Byers and said it's time for local leaders to take action against gun violence.
On Tuesday, St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones had this to say after listening to gun violence discussions from Moms Demand Action leaders in Kansas City.
Our hands are tied as mayors to enact common sense gun safety laws on the local level.
A few hours later, St. Louis County Council Chairwoman Shalonda Webb announced she thinks local leaders, including herself, can and should do more to address the issue.
We need legislation that is comprehensive, that will allow us to keep our community safe and also allow the police and the law enforcement to be able to safely do their jobs.
Webb says she's talking to St. Louis Alderwoman Kara Spencer about the bill the Board of Aldermen unanimously supported to ban people from openly carrying guns. Spencer is Jones's political rival, and Jones has yet to sign it. In Kansas City, Mayor Quinton Lucas proposed 2 laws. One would prevent minors from buying ammunition without parental consent, and another would ban devices known as switches like these that turn handguns into fully automatic weapons.
If there was anything that kind of went wrong in rhetoric since 2020, people thought the answer is it all prevention, is it all enforcement? The real story is it takes all of this.
Webb agrees.
When I see someone doing their due diligence to come up with real solutions, I feel like it's my responsibility to say, hey, how can we engage? How can we also provide that benefit to the county, St. Louis County residents?
Christine Byers, 5 on your side.
The open carry ban will automatically become law August 9th if Mayor Jones does not sign it. To learn more about what criminologists have to say about whether an open carry ban could prevent people from carrying guns in public, go to Christine's story under the As Seen on TV section of KSDK.com.